Hello, New Rochelle. This is Superintendent Jonathan Raymond, and welcome to another edition of What Matters Most. We are in studio at Trinity Elementary School, where everything you do matters. I have a special guest with me, one of our retired Barnard teachers, Candace Pinn, who's also president of the Westchester Alliance for Black School Educators. We're going to have a great conversation with Candace, but before we do, here's some good news. Congratulations to 4 of our students on graduating from the Project Search program. Project Search is a school-to-work transition program for 18 to 21-year-olds with disabilities. The program is a partnership between the City School District of New Rochelle, Montefiore New Rochelle, ACES VR, and Ability Beyond. We are also proud to announce that 4 sophomores at New Rochelle High School won 12 awards at a recent science fair in Summers on June 4th. The students are first-year science research program participants, and their winning projects were selected from a field of 526 projects from 35 schools. Congratulations for your hard work and keep it up. Now for some fun facts. Did you know that the first bicycle was invented in 1817 in Germany? It was steerable and had 2 wheels. And speaking of bicycles, did you know that approximately 53 million Americans own one? And finally, did you know that the White House has 132 rooms, including 35 bathrooms? Now, welcome, Candace. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you.
Welcome back. You've already seen some friends at Trinity,
I know.
right?
At these buildings.
Right, Mr. Hildebrand, a former gym teacher, and as you said, right, you've got so many friends and relationships here in New Rochelle.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I wanted to specifically talk as we're coming up to a really important day. You know, Sunday and Monday, right? Juneteenth, we're going to be celebrating a new federal holiday, first time here in New Rochelle. So tell us a little bit about, the importance of this as a federal holiday, and really, why is it so important for us here in New Rochelle?
Yeah, so, first I just would like to correct the record that last year was our first celebration. And the force behind our celebration in New Rochelle is a woman by the name of Linda Tarrant-Reed. Linda is a lifelong resident of New Rochelle. She still lives here. She's an American historian, an author, and she's also the executive director of the Lincoln Park Conservancy. And the Lincoln Park Conservancy last year Linda called upon WAPC and other organizations to sort of conceive of a one-day celebration, right? Because it was a federal holiday and it was new for New Rochelle. And her conception was to bring everyone together, right, to celebrate this holiday. And it was interesting because so many people didn't even know what it was, right? And so last year, I'm wearing the t-shirt from last year, we had a really successful celebration one day in front of City Hall. And this year, Linda and the Lincoln Park Conservancy brought together several organizations, the NAACP among them, and the Library Foundation, Payne Cottage people. And there are multiple events throughout the month. The first one was is a exhibit at New Rochelle Public Library that really tells the story of the Lincoln Corridor, which many people in the community don't know. Linda knows very well. Was a thriving business corridor, and her father had a coffee shop there, and she worked it as a teenager going to New Rochelle High School. And so the reason why this particular holiday and celebration is so very important is because it brings back some of this history, this local history in New Rochelle, and it brings people together to really learn more, right? And it also is not an African-American holiday. This is an American holiday, and I believe strongly, and WABC has been very much an advocate for educating students about Black history as American history. I believe that whenever we celebrate freedom, we're celebrating America.
Absolutely.
Right? That's sort of the promise of America. So when I see it written about and the language used to really make it kind of like a a specific holiday for a specific group of people, I think is really a missed opportunity.
Right.
And New Rochelle exemplifies bringing folks together. We have lots of community events, New Rochelle Arts Council, lots of community organizations that put on events, and this is going to be, a multi-day, festival for everyone.
Right. What I think is really also a special opportunity, as you said, it's a chance to remind our generations about freedom, which I think sometimes we take for granted in this country, and we see freedom really being pushed and tested right now.
Absolutely.
So how could we bring this more into our schools from that educator perspective? How could
Right.
we honor and celebrate this
So,
idea?
yeah,
year-round?
this, you need to know this also, that this celebration has been going on for decades in Texas,
Right.
because Juneteenth sort of started in Texas. It was the Galveston, Texas area where the enslaved did not become free until 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. So I have people my age who have been learning about this history throughout their schooling, because it was very local to Texas, right? And so WAPSI has actually actively been working with the New York State Ed and legislators to fulfill the Amistad Law, which many people are not aware of. But there's a law on the books, New York State law, that says that we're to teach in schools the history of the enslavement, the history of the African diaspora, the transatlantic slave trade, and everything about the African who was brought here. And no school district in the state has made a concerted effort to create a curriculum, and a scaffolded curriculum where every grade level, pre-K through 12, is expected to know some information. And so we are really pushing for amended Amistad legislation at the state level that will create an Amistad department where there will be experts to disseminate curriculum and to do professional development, and to really get our kids, all of our kids, really educated about who they are, who we are, where we want to be, right? And it's an essential part of our story. And the problem is that when we keep leaving it out, and social events happen, and the children are probably most victimized because they come out of school and they have no idea why things are happening around them, right?
Right. How might we start? How might we become that school district?
It would be
in New
so
York?
great if we here in New Rochelle could follow the lead of New York City. They are disseminating a pre-K to 12 Black history curriculum. And they have used, the brain power at Teachers College, Columbia Teachers College, to really look at the curriculum that they're doing now and see how to infuse Black history into it, starting at pre-K. I happen to be a reviewer of that curriculum from pre-K to 2 as an early childhood expert. We also need to get our school board on board with, and I know that we've started this already, diversity, equity, inclusion plan that would fold in this history curriculum and get it out to the teachers and get them trained as soon as possible. Like, this is what we need to do. And there's 2 bills that your audience needs to know about regarding the Amistad
Please
law.
share them, yes.
Yeah. So one is an assembly bill. It's A9399, and it would actually fund this Amistad department that could support school districts like New Rochelle. And the other is a Senate bill. It's S9443, and it also calls for the funding of an Amistad department. So.
Okay. Well, those are some places we can start. I know that the school board, we've just this year, within the last 2 months, adopted a policy on diversity, equity, inclusion. I know it has a piece in there around curriculum.
Yes.
So that's something we can start to work on, and I'd love to work on that together with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love all the partnerships. Black History Month, Juneteenth, I would love to be a part of that.
It's great. Well, we're so glad to have you here, and it's really important, as you said, to give our young people the context for why we recognize these important holidays, and what's the meaning, and how do they bring it into their own lives. And this idea of freedom, as I said, is so important, and this is real, and it's today, and it's something that our students can understand.
Absolutely.
So,
even the youngest, I was a kindergarten, pre-K teacher, and young people really do understand freedom.
They do. They do. So let's make sure that they really understand that it's not something to take for granted, and we need to celebrate it and to recognize it and to keep reinforcing it, in everything we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So good to have you here. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you.
I'd love to get you back on again.
Sure.
And let's follow up with Linda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Well, there we have it, New Rochelle. I think, as you heard, we are one New Rochelle. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for another edition of What Matters Most. We'll see you soon. Have a great day.